Hello and welcome back to the Opener Sorcery. It's Devi, and today we are doing Devi's Divination Corner on birthmarks. So this one's more of a fun one because I don't necessarily put a lot of stock into it, but I think it's just one of those fun things to look at. So birthmarks have kind of been used as an indication throughout time of different myths and different old wives' tales and things like that. So let's look a little bit at the history of what people believed, and then let's go into like the fun kind of what this means for you and your life lessons and personality and things like that. I'm not going to get too deep into it because there are people that take it entirely too far. It's like, if it's on this part of your body as a man, it means one thing. This part of your body as a woman, it means a completely different thing. But if it's like 2 inches to the left, it means something completely different. It's like, okay, cool. Birthmarks and everything, I understand. It is a blueprint. It is something that could potentially be an indication of something to come in life, almost like palmistry, which I put stock in palmistry. Learning that one, but birthmarks, not so much. So one of the birthmark myths that I find hilarious is the Japanese myth that a pregnant woman who gazed too long into a fire burns the baby. And any birthmark that comes out is because the mom burned the baby. And that to me is hilarious. A similar myth that is around is the woman who is startled or touches her face too much causes a port wine stain in that exact spot on the baby that she's carrying. Because as a pregnant woman, you 100%, everything you do is under scrutiny and you messed up the baby just by being scared. So port wine stains, cafe au lait stains, all mom's fault while she's pregnant, 100%. So birthmarks carrying spiritual significance. There is, of course, beliefs that birthmarks are kisses from the Virgin Mary or angel kisses or things like that. I mean, we've all heard like stork bites and angel kisses and things like that. But it is, I think it's more of like a comforting thing rather than anything in actuality. There is a story that Saint Rocco was born with a red cross-shaped birthmark on his chest, which apparently predicted his future sainthood. So it's always possible, but like I said, I don't put too much stock into it. And even though apparently we have gotten the holiest of the holy signs in that, then there's the Puritans, who you had a mole that looked a little funky. You had a freckle out of place. They saw that as marks of Satan. And you were likely to be burned as a witch. Or at least made to confess. So, it's funny. Because it literally swung both ways within the same religion. Either it was from God or it was from the devil. Who knows? So modern day spirituality, it is more of a catch-all personality test or indication of future issues or future lessons or just what you're having to deal with in this life, which is not necessarily a bad thing. This one's my favorite because I have always heard this and I've always thought that it was funny. That birthmarks are the place where you got killed. That's how you got killed. If it was in the shape of a knife, you got stabbed. If it was in the shape of fire, you got burned. If, this, that, and the other, right? So that one I've always heard. And because I actually have one like on the back of my calf, I was just like, okay, I'm kind of like Achilles over here. I got hit with an axe or something. I don't know. So it always was one of those funny stories for me. There is also another interpretation of it that it could tell you what your past profession is. So could have been a soldier, If it's sword shaped, that was what you wielded. If it is literally shaped like a whisk or something, you could have been a cook. Like, it's kind of silly, but it's interesting at the same time. So we'll look into it in terms of modern day. What kind of things in places do the birthmarks mean? So what I mean by that is where it is on your body, what indication it has. So these are really common sense. Okay. So bear with me. And I'm only going to do like the broad range ones. We're not going into specific, like if it's on this finger, but this section of said finger, I'm not going to do that. If you want to go further into that, go have at it. Have fun. But if you have a birthmark on your leg, you need to learn to stand on your own. Your lesson in this life is to learn to stand on your own, which is kind of funny for me. If your birthmark is on your back, you're trusted, honest, open-minded, because even though you can't see it, you believe. So you're not somebody that's held down and tied down by restricting beliefs. Birthmarks on the arm. So freeing yourself of a belief that others can dominate your life. You have dominance in this life. You enjoy working and you're hardworking. Now this one does have like the man-woman flip of a man that has a birthmark on his arm. He wants to be more in the caregiver role as like somebody who is at home, whereas the woman is like domineering and dominant and career oriented and things like that. So it's almost like if you have a birthmark on your arm, think of it as the masculine feminine flip. You're wanting to take on more of the other role. Birthmark on hands. So this one actually is rare. One of my kids actually has one of these. 2 of them. You know what? 2 of them. She does have 2. So birthmark on the left hand. So in terms of energy, our left hand is receiving, receptive, things of that. This is, you are going to give so much more in this life than you get back in return. So this is being unselfish, this is being giving, this is being nurturing, this is taking care of other people. Right hand. Right hand is, you're going to take a whole heck of a lot more than you give. So be a bit on the side of selfish. It's kind of funny because the right hand is supposed to be projection and is supposed to be giving, but apparently the indication is that they take, and it's opposite. So that I don't necessarily put too terribly much stock into, because my belief, it would be opposite. On the left hand would be the one where you're taking more than you give because you're receiving. You're sponging it up. Not necessarily in a selfish way, but you are getting. And then the right hand would be giving because you have more to give. You are able to project it forward. But that is my own 2 cents on that one. So this is funny. Birthmarks on your no-no square. Right? Birthmarks on your no-no square. This one has 2 opposite meanings that I could find. And it made me laugh out loud. So having birthmarks there. Some believe it to be, this is an honest and generous person. Great marital life, good lovers, financial status is perfecto. While apparently there is another thought that a birthmark on a woman in her no-no square, she's a slut. Characterless and addicted to sex. So it's one of those things where you find those opposing beliefs and it's fun to laugh at because I don't take any of it seriously. So birthmarks on the stomach. So somebody who literally, they have a gut feeling, right? There also is another thought in terms of that one where it is gluttony. So they are good with gut feeling. They are good with tuning in and being able to make good decisions because they can trust their intuition. But apparently there's also another belief that they are gluttonous and hoarders in a sense. They don't want to give up their resources easily. Birthmarks on the wrist. This would be having to face a lot of hardships in the life. It is great for creative people and things like that, because you can take your pain and turn it into a creative project, but it just means that things are more difficult than they should be. Throats. So a birthmark on your throat symbolize power of voice. So think of it more as the chakra. I can't think of the word. Just the throat chakra. And it is more of, that connection there. You got one there on your throat because you are able to project and you are able to have your thoughts heard. There is a belief around that your thoughts and your voice was stifled in a past life. So you are able to actually bring it out in this one. Birthmarks on the hip mainly symbolizes a connection to the animal kingdom. So this one, they say animal kingdom. I see it as more, okay, they are more in tune with an instinctual nature versus a logical one, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Birthmarks on the face. Also not too terribly common, but they are strong spiritual symbols. And this I do believe, and I know that there is a belief in Mexico that if you have a mole or a birthmark on the edge of your lip or on your lip in any way, shape, or form, you have to be careful what you say because it will come to fruition. So it can be an indication of a gift at the same time. But, that's a basic overview. There are people that break it down. And they break it down far into, if it's on this finger, if it's on this toe, da-da-da-da-da. Have fun. Have at it. I would not put too terribly much stock into it. I think it is a fun thing to look at and be like, okay, that makes sense. But at the same time, I don't believe it's one of those indications of this is going to guarantee riches and greatness at all times kind of thing, But those are my thoughts on birthmarks and that as a divinatory tool. So this is Devi on the Open Sorcery, and I will see you guys next time.